And we're live.
Hello, hello, hello. What's up, all you beautiful people? I guess, God, come on in, grab a seat, grab something comfortable, and enjoy the show. We're going to have a really fun time tonight. I'm really excited to have Mr. Tennapel here with us, and we have Mr. Rekieta on the way in. He is late and gay.
He's getting out of rehab, I believe. He's on his way out.
Something like that. Something like that. But yeah, so he's not going to be with us immediately, but he is on his way. So he's looking forward to it. But welcome. I'm super excited for this show. Man, it's crazy, Doug. We were just talking about this a little bit ago. It's been a long time since America has been through anything like this. How did you guys get through it during the Depression?
You mean back in, what was it, 1918?
No. The one more recent, the one in the 30s.
The 30s, the 1930s? Well, yeah. We were in the Dust Bowl.
Yeah.
I looked over to my fossilized parents. You son of a gun. You're a dirtbag, man. I'm not that old. I'm a kid. Look at me. I'm a kid. I'm a kid of this. I was born in 66.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever helps you sleep at night there, Doug.
Yeah, what's your grasp of the timeline of history?
The whole purpose of you being here was so you bring some gravity to this whole situation. Yeah. So yeah, we in our youth, in our lack of wisdom,
we also have to remember, Doug, he was homeschooled.
Yeah, it's true.
This is true. So I can always blame it on my parents, right? That's what my therapist taught me to do.
Is anyone even alive who's been through the Great Depression? Is anyone still alive?
There's a few of them out there. My grandfather just passed away, 3 years ago? And oh man, he would tell us stories, man. I mean, what my kids were complaining about, we're trying to raise them right, and similar to Jesus, he gave everybody the crap wine to start the wedding, and then by the end they were, drinking the good wine.
Yeah.
And so, no, you can't. What is she talking? No, you can't. Okay, so.
Oh no, you can't.
You can't blame her for your poor history education.
Oh! I didn't know. Hey, sorry, Mom. I didn't know you were watching. But anyway, so
a fellow 1966 birthday, I'll say. Fine people.
There you go. So we were sitting down eating breakfast yesterday, eating some syrup sandwiches for breakfast. And so I figured, we've got plenty of food in the kitchen, but we would go ahead and start this quarantine off right and teach them about some struggle meals. So I think they're in there eating some ramen right now. And just kind of, living that life. I'm sure we'll break out some Kool-Aid a little bit later on.
Grape drink.
Some great, yes, you just call it grape. You're in the South, aren't you? What do you want to drink? Oh, I just take some red.
Some red, some purple.
Some purple. So you got to be careful though. That could be an illicit drug too. So you want to be careful when you're talking about that purple drink. So, but no, man. But come on in. I got some people joining us. So Doug, what's your take on all this, man? It is crazy right now. I mean. We've got people that are attacking the president, which, I'm frustrated with them a little bit. I will say that. I'm not really
surprised by it.
No, I'm not surprised by it. But, to be honest, my wife and I have been watching this situation, monitoring it since right after Thanksgiving. This thing has been going on in China for a while. And, we were kind of expecting it. We knew it was going to come to the States, and we knew once it got to the States, it was going to be bad. I was really excited to see Trump shut down the border when he did, or shut down the planes coming in from China. Otherwise, this thing would have gotten out of control quick. I mean, you got to have a good friend of mine who is a physician in South Dakota, and he is of Chinese descent. He came over here, went to college, married a woman here. and he's still not a citizen though. And so he was he went over after 30 years. He had never been home for 30 years. Went home for the Chinese New Year, and he's still there.
Oh, he can't get back.
He can't get back. So I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, that's
really
terrible. Yeah,
But,
these are real human beings. When you talk about border shutdowns and flight bans, and we're like, haha, yay, shut it all down. And like, there's real people whose lives are just completely turned over in America all over the place right now.
And this guy's a doctor, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, so he's definitely someone who's embodied that American exceptionalism, right? It's embodied that American dream. You know, he came over, got his education, he has a family, but yeah, he can't get in. But
I see him as a double agent of ours over there. He'll probably do some good. We want an American at heart over there, and maybe God has him over there needing to do some doctor work over there.
You know, that's possible. That's possible. I mean, I'm sure he'd rather be with his family right now, though.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, but that's the interesting part. You know, when we think about this, and obviously, you know, I'm gonna continue to be politically incorrect and call it the China virus, because that's exactly what it is. But you know, I think the frustrating part, and I think what Trump is trying to do, is if you are a student of history, which I know you are, Doug.
Yes, sir.
If you're a student of history, you understand that at the beginning of the Civil War, the South was kicking the North's rear end. I mean, just destroying the North. They had the better generals. But more importantly,
they just had to defend ground. It was easier to defend. They had all the access to all of the goods coming in through the ocean, through the
and they were fighting on their own turf, right?
Yep.
So they had the home field advantage, if you will. But the other side of that, though, is that when you look at the Civil War in that time, they were fighting for something specific, right? That they had a common enemy. They were fighting to protect their way of life. Now, am I saying that slavery is right? No, I'm not. But they had a federal government that was coming in that was telling them that, hey, we understand that your livelihood is based off of agriculture, but starting tomorrow, we're going to take away all of that. We're going to take away what they viewed as property, right? And the cost.
And don't forget, the North wasn't keeping their end of the bargain.
And the North was not. So you have people that are coming in literally saying, we're going to shut your business down starting tomorrow. And I suppose you could draw some parallels to what we're seeing right now, right? I mean, you have people that have been working their entire lives to build a business, and one day, hey, you got to shut this down, right? And good or bad or wrong, we're going to talk about that a little bit, but it's frustrating. But fast forward, you know, to about 2 years into the war, and then you start to see a change in Lincoln's strategy. He had to give something to the people to fight for, right? And so this abolitionist movement was just the thing, right? To make them feel as though they were fighting the righteous fight, that they had the righteous battle on the righteous cause behind them, right? They were on God's side. God was with them because they were fighting for him, because they were freeing slaves. That's not the way it started. That wasn't the purpose of it. But let me fast forward to today. I feel that that's kind of what Trump is doing, right? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I feel like he's bringing this whole China virus thing up because he wants to remind people, hey, this is who we're fighting against. We're not fighting against each other. We're not fighting against the lady who decided to grab, 2 extra packs of toilet paper. We're not fighting against the guy who decided to go grab 17,000 bottles of hand sanitizer, right? That's not who our enemy is. Our enemy is, let's not forget, is the Chinese government, who, rather than deal with this and fixing it and giving us access to this thing early on, they decided to conceal it, to hide it, and put us in a really, really bad situation. And good on him for making that known. But what's your view on this whole thing, man? I mean, where are you at with it?
Well, if you want to talk big picture, I'm concerned that we can't be brought to our knees by what China does not do, right? So they can have a plague over in their country. I don't see why that should shut us down or destroy us, because stuff happens in other countries all the time. Look, Nick's here.
Stuff has never happened in another country ever before. What are you talking about?
Yes, I'm just saying, big picture, weird stuff happens in other countries. I think we need to remember that we're Americans and that we care about each other and love each other and that we fight for our own liberty. And so, and that this virus won't be the end of us. And so don't do anything embarrassing now that you'll regret later. And I think overall we're keeping, I wish we kept more cool heads, but I think we're acting cooler than the fear inside of us is, because I see a lot of fear, and fear scares me because you don't want dad to run around like he has like a chicken with his head cut off. A dad is a leader of his home, and they're leaders in our communities. And they need to see cool heads. You need to make a measured decision at what's going on the ground. And I do not see a catastrophe in front of me. And that includes if I get the virus. It doesn't shut me down and terrify me. You do the best you can with what you got.
That's why what I did was I went to all my neighbors' houses while they were sleeping, and I took all their guns and their food and their underwear. That's a measured response.
You're an idiot. You should have taken their toilet paper.
No, I just wiped with their underwear.
Yeah, use their underwear and just put another layer on there.
Than their toilet paper. They had the one-ply stuff. It was disgusting.
I found some sandpaper. That's all I could find in the toolbox. It was unfortunate.
Back when I was a kid, that was the good stuff.
Right.
We used granite. The rich kids used the sandpaper.
We used Brillo
in the better part of Houston, where Q grew up.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. Hey, we're gonna have Nick over to our place tomorrow to teach our children about struggle meals. So
listen, this is a hot dog and this is ramen noodles. You can't eat these hot dogs. Those are too expensive. You got to borrow the packages from the hot dogs to get enough water to cook the ramen noodles. That's what you got to do.
There you go. And then don't let that hot dog water go to waste. You can flavor some stuff with that.
Yeah, if you run out of milk for the cereal, there's always bourbon.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find Vienna sausages, man. I can't find Vienna sausages anywhere.
God does exist. Those things, I used to eat those so much as a kid, and my parents would just sit and like look at me in disgust. And what?
I did too. Vienna sausages. I was at the supermarket. You know, it's all terrible food is what's left over in the canned meat section. I was buying deviled ham and Vienna sausages. I'm like, 7 packs of sardines. I'm like, this is good eating. I remember this.
Yeah, for those of us who are using this experience as an opportunity to teach our spoiled children what it's like to grow up the way we grew up. Just lest they forget, right?
Yeah, wait till coronavirus wipes out the pause button. Then the real struggle.
Yeah.
Hey, I was talking to my son the other day. I was like, we were talking about cartoons when we were kids, right? I was like, oh yeah, I used to watch this. And he was like, oh, did you see this? Have you seen this? Oh, you saw this episode? I said, no, I don't think I saw this episode. He's like, well, I thought you watched it when you were a kid. I said, yeah, but if I didn't make it home in time to watch it, or, you know, I had something to do that Saturday morning, I didn't get a chance to see it. Like, I mean, he's like, well, just go back and watch it on YouTube. Like, there was no YouTube when I was a kid. He's like, you're that old? Like, man, shut up, bro.
Our go back and watch it on YouTube was literally wait 3 years, hope the series ended, and they did a rerun.
Yeah. So let on demand go down, and parents will be suffering everywhere. So yeah. My kids get ready to watch X-Men. It better be on. So.
Q, but think that families are coming together, though, being quarantined, and families are forced to come back together. That's some kind of a unifying, a good side to this whole thing. People are leaving the office, going home, and being family again.
It could be positive. I mean, I think it's going to be more positive than it is negative. I tell you what I'm really excited about, Doug. I'm really excited about the fact that parents are going to be forced to work with their kids and to see what they're being indoctrinated with in schools. They're going to be forced to sit there and this is what your history books are teaching you. I think a lot of parents' eyes are going to be opened to see what they're actually learning in school. Parents are busy and things like that. They obviously might not, be completely up to date on everything. But they're going to have to take a hands-on approach to their own children's education. Well, it looks like to the end of the school year for most schools. Looks like they're done.
It's true for us, pretty sure.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I'm sure you're a pretty involved dad, so I'm sure you already know what your kids are.
I love having my kids at home. I absolutely love it. I'm having a blast. I smother them in hugs, and I just we get to cook together and just hang. And I'm like, homework, schmomework. Let's, my son's putting together a D&D game, a Star Wars D&D game. It's gonna be great.
I think when you homeschool your kids, a quarantine should be the opposite. Like they take them to school. They have to know that the virus is bad. My kids aren't learning the virus is bad. What are they learning? Next time there's like some pandemic, they're going to be, oh, great. It's all normal. I'll just go around and cough on everybody.
Go be socially awkward in a real school.
Exactly. Have you guys seen the news story that was trending earlier today? It was disturbing times. Bored, idle teenagers coughing on produce in grocery stores. These kids are walking up to like green bell pepper. Put it back on the shelf.
As bad as that might sound, Nick, I would much rather have them coughing on bell peppers than licking my Bluebell ice cream. That should earn the death penalty.
Did you notice what ice cream wasn't getting licked?
Briars.
Exactly. Briars didn't get licked. Nothing got licked but Bluebell. It tells you something.
Hey, and if any of you guys don't know what Bluebell ice cream is, what are you doing with your life? Like, you are wasting your life away.
You break quarantine right now. Get your butt
quarantine.
down south and you find Bluebell.
I'm an ice cream snob, and Bluebell doesn't have enough real. It has a lot of artificial ingredients in it, so I don't do Bluebell.
Is there anything we can do to like mute him from our side? Yeah, you will not bring that heresy to this station. You keep that heresy for your show.
I'm going to one up the heresy and probably get kicked off the show right now, but I eat Ben and Jerry's.
What?
Yeah,
you just eat communism? Like, what is
socialist? Yeah, I eat communist ice cream.
They have 18 new flavors. They're all Gray and Stalin. That's what they're called. Gray and Stalin.
I like the chunks of candy bar in the ice cream, and I see it.
No, why would they be called Gray and Stalin? Because Stalin, isn't that steel, which is kind of gray?
Iron.
Yeah, Stalin has one variety, and there's a line around the block to get it.
Yeah. I think my wife bought Ben and Jerry's one time. I think it was like Hammer and Sickle or something like that.
Yeah.
And
I almost spit my wine.
Hammer beans and sickleberries. Beautiful flavor.
Doug is recovering from a spit take.
Yeah. How much you want to bet that the next flavor that comes out is going to be coronavirus flavor?
Yeah.
Just filthy.
I'm sorry, China virus. My bad.
Corona lime.
Corona. Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. Soder was about to read
it's okay. We have a Streamlabs donation from our good buddy Osmodeus for $2. Says, my guilty pleasure during this has been a giant spoonful of peanut butter and a glass of milk nightly.
I just told you.
With this whole talk of peanut butter, I have some Screwball right here.
The abomination.
What is that?
It's peanut butter
whiskey,
flavored.
Nick.
Ooh. I need a glass of milk now.
Yeah,
I need a
I
glass
bought,
of bleach.
yeah, Nick, I bought a bottle of that stuff, that screwball stuff at the local
Why?
liquor store because they had like a whole big stand of it. I go, ooh,
What-
peanut butter whiskey. This is
It
going
was
to be
free,
awesome. 'cause I
right?
like whiskey and I like peanut butter.
No, you don't.
It's an abomination. It is undrinkable. It tastes like chemicals and sugar.
But can you really trust the taste buds of a guy who just disparaged the name of Bluebell ice cream?
Can't. Wait,
No.
so you're telling me now I have to try it?
Well, right.
I
Don't
can't
do it.
believe
Hey,
I
Doug,
can't believe this
send him,
man.
hey, just mail him the rest of your bottle. You're not going to drink
Keep him from
anymore
making a
of it.
$34 mistake.
It was $34.
You
Oh
could
my
have gotten a
Am I
half.
right,
gosh.
Scoter? Am I right, Scoter? $34? What did you pay for that?
I want to say it was like $29.95 or something
Okay.
like that.
It's BOGO
It
now.
was probably around 34 with tax.
Doug, I'm inviting you over for a drink. Here, just a second. Here. We'll fix this problem. Let me get you some wine or something.
There you go. Hey, at this point, you might as well be drinking Fireball. So,
Oh, that's filthy.
Those of you guys out there, don't forget to like the stream and spread the link around to your friends who might want a warm evening with some gentlemen on quarantine night
One
in
of the
America.
one of the last warm evenings we may get to have because we're in Minnesota, Stan, home of Ben and Jerry's. I don't know if that's true, but it is honorary home of communist ice creams everywhere. And our beloved benevolent dear leader, Governor Walz,
yeah.
He's considering-
our Fuhrer.
he is considering building that wall between literally every property line in the state, saying you don't get to leave. You don't get to leave your house. Stay in place. Nothing you want to do is important. And
Nothing
look,
you have to do is important.
Because I said so.
He's talked to the National Guard, just letting us good citizens know that he talked to the National Guard, and they're not necessary at this time. It was like the most ominous thing. It's like, look, comrade, the potato farms are looking fine this year. No one will need to go to them on their own. I don't trust this guy at all.
No.
And then today, sorry to bring the news into this, but today we have the Department of Justice talking to Congress about suspending habeas corpus. And that was a lot of S's. So let me break that down. The Department of Justice, which is the law enforcement agency of the entire country, has talked to Congress, which is the idiots of the entire country gathered into one place. And they're asking them for permission to be able to lock you, me, Soder twice. They wouldn't lock Doug up. They just throw him in the ocean. They're just going to lock us up with no hearing, no trial, and no right of petition to get out.
And Department of Justice are all appointed, right? They're not voted on. At least Congress, you can vote them out. But Department of Justice.
Well, like most of the administrative state, DOJ is largely hired. And then the high-ranking officials, the mid-ranking officials are appointed by the president. Right. That is not even really reviewed.
It can't be fired
Senate.
by us, the voters.
No, not easily. Not easily. And so if you want to know if you're Jim Acosta right now, you have filled your colostomy bag like 8 times today. Because this guy has openly spoken out against the president and pissed him off a lot. And now they're talking about the same type of mechanisms that exist in Cuba for disappearing a dissident journalist. Not that the Trump administration is going to go around locking up all of the journalists, but they literally could. Sorry, Jim. Heard you had corona. No, I didn't have corona. Heard you had corona. We're going to put you in a room. And there's no reporting from you until maybe December. We'll test you when we get one. There's a shortage. I'm sure you've heard. Can I call my family? No.
But real quick though, Nick, I'm watching Twitter and I'm hearing all of these idiots talking about, oh, see, it's just a short-lived deal. It's going to be over soon. Look at China. They haven't had any new cases in the last 2 days. We just
Who believes China?
Well, hold on. then they follow it up with, we just need to handle this like China did. Okay, so incinerating old people. That sounds great. Wow. Oh, wait. Mr. Chen just bought some cough syrup. He must have the corona. Take him to the incinerator, right? So, let's weld their door shut so they can't get out. That's a good way to deal with it.
Men in police uniforms dragging people out of their houses just in a headlock and throwing them in a van and driving them away while they're screaming.
Take their glasses so they don't know. And when they're like, oh, that room's hot. It's like, that's a sauna, buddy. Just get in and shut up.
Yeah. So
stop screaming.
There's a gas chamber in every neighborhood, right? And so, yeah, we need to do it just like China did. So I guess this is just the first step, right? Giving the people what they want. We're going to go ahead and give the people what they want. We're going to deal with this thing. And just like China did, it'll be over in 2 months. Just relax. So,
you know what's amazing? You know what country was supposed to be China Part 2? Like memes aside, it was Japan.
Oh, okay.
And they took all of the preventative measures in the world, except they didn't, and it just didn't outbreak there. They just didn't do it. They didn't lock people up. They didn't impose curfews or quarantines.
Bullshit. Bullshit. They're having the same issues that we're having here. They just won't report them because they put so much money into this damn Olympics.
Look, maybe we need an Olympics. Then I want the Olympics here because I don't want to be locked up by my government.
They're like, we're completely clean over here. Completely clean. Yeah.
Look, when your neighbor dies, your shoebox apartment doubles. So, perfect.
Yeah, I'm not buying the whole we didn't. Oh yeah, we've got. Well, it's just like Russia. I heard some idiot yesterday saying, well, you know, Russia's a neighbor to China and they haven't had any cases. Okay.
Yeah, notice everyone who doesn't have a free press has no cases to report.
Listen. So, I'm trusting Japan over China. I'm trusting Japan over Russia. The only country I trust more than Japan reporting on this is North Korea. We have 0 cases. I bet you do. I bet we had one, and we didn't have any more. And then we had another one. And then we got rid of that one too.
Kim Jong-un is going around saying you have 2 choices. Either I shoot you in the head or I give you my barber gives you a haircut.
Yeah.
Shoot me in the head. Shoot me in the head.
Mr. Kim Jong-un, how are you responding to the corona crisis? We built a bunch of catapults on the South Korean border. Wait, why?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So okay, so Nick, so you are personally, you're taking this quarantine personal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you are ready to practice civil disobedience, and okay, that's cool.
I'm not even ready to practice it. I'm like genetically wired for it. Let me lay out my average day in life outside of Corona, right? It's wake up at like 1 o'clock because I stream till like 5. Okay. So I wake up in the either very late morning or very early afternoon, help my kids get lunch. They usually handle breakfast, or Lady Rackets will help them with breakfast. So I get them lunch, and then I just go, now I have to drive all over the damn city, right? That's the rest of my day, is drive around, go do errands, everything. And all I want to do is sit at home and like watch Dungeons and Dragons lore videos on YouTube. I don't want to do anything else. I don't care. I want to learn about 12th level spells. All right. Yeah, they exist. But Mistress sucks and cut them off. So that's all I want to do, is sit around and do that. Well, Corona comes and I can't wait to leave. I'm like, what am I doing in this house? I gotta go eat a candy bar and a gallon of milk. You have 3 gallons of milk in the fridge. No, but I gotta get another one.
They're gonna be gone by morning.
So I wake up, like, I went to bed so late last night after a very long stream with 3/4 of a bottle of wine. What?
How did that one end, by the way?
That stream? Yeah. I don't recall.
I don't remember. He was on autopilot by then.
I literally, Mr. Birch, his router restarted, and so he dropped out, and then he passed out in his chair waiting for the router to come back. So the 3-minute reset of the router was enough for that man to be done. Mr. Mangoes or Mr. Peacock or whatever, I don't know how he lives through these. I think Josh had 2 bottles of Grey Goose.
Oh my gosh!
So we're all dying. So I ended up upstairs in my sunroom, laying on the couch, and then at about 8, I got up and transferred to my bed. But then I was awake at 10:15, and all I wanted to do was go get the mail. I want to go to the post office and get the mail. There's nothing at the post office. I haven't gotten mail in days because there's just nobody doing anything. I can't wait to leave every day, not because I want to get out of my house, but because people told me I shouldn't get out of my house. So now when the governor tells me I have to stay in my house, you bet your ass I'm going to drive somewhere. I just have it. It'll be forced upon me. It's not my fault. Government should know this.
Governor, I heard there's the only store in Minnesota that has toilet paper is in Minneapolis, St. Paul. I've got to get there. I am running out.
Where are you going, sir? I'm on an essential run for toilet paper. Why are you in downtown St. Paul? Because the governor's house has my toilet paper.
Yeah, you're the last lawyer they ever want to ask those questions of.
But they do. So I tweeted out a thought experiment, THOT experiment the other day, and that's the problem with this lockdown, right? So, and this is why they want to suspend habeas corpus. It's because of jackholes like me. So you're out and about and you get pulled over, random stop, because there's no reason for you to be out. Presumably, you don't have essential business. You're just some guy. You're not a cop or like a hospital person. So you're driving around and they pull you over and they're like, oh, where are you going? Yeah. That's all you have. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to tell a cop where you're going. That's not a requirement anywhere on earth. So then they're going to say, well, travel's been restricted, don't you? That's uncomfortable. Try it sometime. But just do it. And then they're going to say... I almost
started talking right then, just because that silence was so uncomfortable.
It sucks. And then they're going to wonder, they're going to ask you, well, where are you headed? Because non-essential travel is not permitted. Are you going to tell me where you're headed?
I wasn't planning on it.
They can't arrest you because you didn't tell them your travel was non-essential or essential. And they have to have probable cause to believe that your travel is non-essential. They don't have it. They don't have any cause to believe your travel is anything. So they have they have a due process issue with this stupid order if people just don't say anything. So what are they going to do? They're going to arrest you for driving? For what? That's not a crime. Even in a time of quarantine, it's not a crime as long as as long as essential travel is permitted. They can't prove that you're not doing it. And that's their job. So guess what? In 7 weeks, you'll see me when I get released from jail after I finally get my hearing.
Well, if you can sue them, you'd never have to work again.
And in all fairness, Nick has a winning complexion. So for all of my people of color that are watching this show, I don't suggest that you take Nick's advice. Comply. We get shot over stupid stuff.
It's true.
So traveling against the advisory, just stay at home, chill, eat some ramen.
You are not an Article 4 free inhabitant, but I am. But you are not. Make no mistake. Don't.
I just want to issue this disclaimer because I don't want anybody getting tased out there on the street and be like, Nick told me. No.
Nick's advice applies to me, not to you.
Yeah,
to me.
I can see about 100 people being like, hey, my lawyer said, who's your lawyer? Nick Rekieta. Where did you see him? Out of the darkness. Whoa. Yeah, so
they'll shoot you over that one. Mr. Q, are you the purveyor of Out of the Darkness? Yeah. You're coming with us. Unauthorized practice of law. Wait a minute.
Civil unrest. Wait. So let me just go ahead and say that the thoughts expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect those of the creators of this channel and or content. Thank you very much.
I saw you reach for something in the glove compartment. I'm not reaching for anything. I saw you reach for something in the glove. I'm not reaching for something.
You wouldn't have that conversation. You'd already have a bullet in the back of your head.
Yeah. Oh,
we do have a topical super chat, but I'm going to read the untopical one first.
Okay.
Osmodeus again for $2. Thank you, buddy. Nick, am I a degenerate for liking pecan whiskey?
Yes.
Yes.
Wait. I haven't tried pecan whiskey, but pecans can have a smoky flavor to them.
There's the reason you haven't tried pecan whiskey.
But Nick, you're a degenerate because you prefer Islay over Highland, right?
I prefer Islay over everything.
Okay, so
but I don't tell other people that Islay is the superior one. I just say that I like it better than any other.
Your taste buds haven't been completely evolved yet.
Hey, I mentioned a gun cleaning party. I got some gun oil.
Well, I'll be right over.
I have two. I have another bottle too, just in case.
Yeah, it sounds like we're all going to quarantine at the Rackett's household.
But no, like the reason you haven't tried pecan whiskey is because literally all the other whiskey on earth exists. Like that's other than the peanut butter whiskey, which is just
because there is no peanut butter in the peanut butter whiskey. There's no pecans in the pecan whiskey. It's chemicals. It's like flavored tobaccos.
Okay.
There's no you don't want that stuff.
This is how coronavirus starts.
Okay, so we're taking a vote. I vote nay.
It's like
Osmodeus to Osmodeus being a degenerate. Soder, what say you? Yay or nay?
Well, if it's anything like this peanut butter stuff, I'm going to go with yay. He's a degenerate.
Okay, and we already know what Nick's vote is. So you have a chance to hang this thing up, Doug. Yay or nay?
Hard pass on pecan.
Okay, so sorry.
Like a yay for degeneracy.
Degenerate. So hey, but just remember, your boy had your back. So
we just demonstrated a representative republic. Right now,
unlike the state.
I thought it was a democracy. But
no,
okay.
No, because he didn't get to vote. We did.
Okay, I see.
He voted to have us on the stream, and then we imposed our will upon him. It was beautiful.
Whiskey needs to come from the flavor of the ingredients and the oak cask, and not the test tube laboratory chemical they inject into it.
But you don't know. You don't know if the whiskey was aged in pecan barrels, though.
I would give that a shot if that's true. I would give that a shot.
There you go. So it might have been flavored by the pecan barrels. I barbecue with pecan wood. So I mean, I'm telling you, don't knock it.
More research is necessary before I can weigh in. How's that?
Okay, all right. So actually, technically, we have a hung jury here. So we have to acquit our brother Osmodeus.
No, the foreman already issued his answer. No takesies, backsies. Asmodeus is saved from degeneracy by
I'm sorry, Nick. I forgot to tell you, I have a weighted vote here. So
the host wins.
Damn reparations.
There you go. All right. So the next one.
The next one.
Yeah.
Next one. Also from our good buddy Asmodeus. Now I feel really bad for the guy. For $2. When they suspend habeas corpus, we enact Taurus and feather us.
Yeah. We should do that.
Officer, what are you doing on the road? Unessential travel has been verboten. I'm going to clean my guns.
Yeah. You know what? Hey, I'm so incredibly excited to hear how the other side lives, because this whole civil unrest thing sounds like a whole lot of white privilege. So I mean, more power to you. Show us how it's done. But yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. You need to learn from your people.
My
Baltimore looked like a few years ago.
From my people.
do you mean, you
which,
people?
Which one?
What do you mean, you people? He means
Hold on.
fiscal conservative people.
Yeah. Which one? You mean like Sterling? What's his name? Alden Sterling?
Yeah.
Yeah, that worked out really good for him.
No, wait, that was Eric Garner.
Eric Garner, yeah, he tried to comply and got.
He tried to
killed.
breathe.
Yeah, he's just like, hey, can I just get some of that free oxygen, please?
He was killed at a convenience store. You know, there was a free air sign and a hose right next to him too.
So,
oh my
God.
Yeah.
So no offense, but I'm gonna let y'all play this one out. I'm just gonna sit here in the house and chill and stream.
Look, my van is 7 feet tall, and
So it could play basketball then.
Is that a double decker? What? That's a tall van.
It's just that tall. It's just a 7 foot tall van,
and it's black.
No, it's blue.
It's blue.
God, it's black.
You colorblind.
Oh my gosh.
Wait a minute. That could be taken wrong.
Maybe it was black, but then it joined the police. Now it's blue. Okay. Listen, I'm putting a bucket of tar balanced over the door frame. So if the police and a bag of feathers with a fan next to me. So if they pull me over, I'm going to say, officer, I'm going to need you to open the door to my car. It's stuck. Right. And then he'll open it. The bucket will fall on him. And then I'll pull the ripcord like in Home Alone. That man will be
It's the
feathered.
Home Alone van.
Exactly. Don't ever call your van the Home Alone van. Especially if you smoked out the windows on it. Don't do that.
Especially if it's an ice cream truck. Hey, is there a tipping point though where the rebellion against the government starts? Are you willing to be the only man who does it, or do you wait till the crowds are full and you can get some people around you to do it? Is it one man's job to be the first guy, the tip of the spear?
It's not my job to ever do that. I am not a protester in person, right? Like I don't believe in the horde of people chanting and throwing rocks and stuff. That's not my
universities
thing.
Down. No, we don't do that.
I will be like the saddest, most reluctant revolutionary that you find, like the guy in the movie who's, like there's a sun flare and he looks back and he's sweating. And he's like, well, I guess this is it. And then you pick up your gun and sling it over your shoulder and walk off quietly, right? Like that's how I go. I'm not the guy to start the revolution. I'll be complaining to the masses.
Soder, are you first in the streets?
I don't think the thought hasn't crossed my mind that it would happen. I don't know. Well, okay, so one of the things that's the pornography that every gun owner seems to have is, if they come for me, I'm going to shoot them right in the face, right? But I don't want to say what I'm going to do in those instances because I honestly don't know. One thing that really stuck with me when I was doing martial arts before I got married was you just don't know how things are going to shake out. And to brag about what you're going to do is going to either be hubris because you're going to lose, or you're telling your enemy what you're going to do.
Don't we end up just kind of going along with culture though, Soder?
Yeah, I've heard so many Boogaloo boys over the past 4-8 years talking about civil war now, all of this stuff that's going to happen the moment the government oversteps too far, and all of the barriers that they've set up over the years have been encroached on by government. Right? Like it's always, well, the next thing. It's like, yeah, I mean, but most people they're just not going to do it because you got too much to lose. Still.
I'm going to say this. So I'm a huge Second Amendment supporter. I'm a huge, I just love the Bill of Rights. Okay, I love the whole thing, right? So I get all that, but there's definitely a two-tier justice system here in this country, and this is not a race thing at all. Like, but there's a two-tier justice system, right? So I've been waiting, because at what point? Just tell me, at what point does the scale tip, right? Because I thought that we had reached that point a long time ago, and I think it's going to take somebody like Nick. We're going to vote Nick to be the guy, but it's going to take somebody to be like, hey, no, now this is the straw that broke the camel's back. I keep looking at it, I'm thinking. I told my wife, she says, what point are people going to finally stand up and say, all right, this is our 1776 moment. We are going to take back our independence. What's it going to take? And that line keeps on getting pushed back further and further. I'm thinking, well, at the point that martial law is pressed upon us, at that point, people will stand up and they will say, we are not going to push.
So when it gets to life and death, not the soft rights, but when it comes down to the hard rights.
But let me ask you, how much more strict would martial law be than what we're already experiencing, Nick?
It's a good question.
This is voluntary. We're voluntarily conceding the ground to martial law.
Whoa! At the point that habeas corpus is on furlough.
Yeah, he's just on vacation. He'll be back.
He'll be back. We're not saying we're doing away with it. It's just he's on vacation for a little while. He's taking a little trip. The problem is we already know the travel ban has been put in place. Habeas corpus won't be allowed to come back.
The crazy thing
is on a permanent vacation.
The crazy thing to think about is the last time habeas corpus was suspended is, I believe, literally the Civil War.
That's right. Well, Bush did something like it during the war, right? Didn't he do something like it during the Gulf War?
War on terror. So the Constitution allows for a suspension of habeas corpus during insurrection.
Yeah, explain what habeas corpus is for
habeas corpus is your right to contest your confinement by the government. Okay. So if you get arrested, no, it doesn't matter how you get picked up by a border patrol, you get whatever, anywhere, you have a right to say to your government to take them to court and say, I get to be free because X.
So what about the Japanese internment camps? Would that be more recent?
It's a good question. I don't know that they got to petition, right? Korematsu was the case that they got to petition for their freedom. They just were denied it. So they still had but they at least, listen though, they at least got a hearing.
Okay, we heard you. No.
Yeah. And they went all the way to the Supreme Court on it. And lost. We have since overturned Korematsu, but all of these things, you'll notice the key is war, right? Habeas corpus during the Civil War is suspended because it's not peacetime. Korematsu, they didn't officially suspend habeas corpus. They did for the Japanese people. Like practically, yes, they did. Although there wasn't an official suspension of habeas corpus that was issued by the president.
Okay, wait. There's a guy in the chat that says it was for World War II for the Japanese.
Right.
Spectre 06 Gaming says it was suspended during World War II for the Japanese interned in camps.
Yeah, and the reason that they gave, it's bogus, but the reason that they gave for that is that there was some sort of invasion going on, right? There was some level of, let's not sugarcoat it, there was some level of suspicion that was relatively confirmed that there were Japanese agents working in California. Now, I don't think it was, it's hard to trust it. It's hard to trust that information, but that's the information that we kind of got later. But when you see what happened to all of the very, very well-maintained farmland that the Japanese had, which per acre was double to triple the value of white people farms in California, and how all of that land got transferred from Japanese Americans to white American farmers, you kind of understand one of the big motivations. Yep. But either way, we're talking wartime suspensions because that's actually written into the Constitution. Times of invasion, and I could.
Is it fair to say that we're at war with a virus?
No.
I mean, but in all fairness, Trump. We've been
at war with the poor, or against poverty. We've been at war against drugs. How on earth is a virus any different?
Well,
Those aren't wars.
But Trump has been very deliberate in his.
I'm pretty sure
in his
Reagan said we are going to have a war on
war.
drugs.
Yeah, well, Reagan could. I'm not going to.
Hey,
You don't like him? He took the guns from the black people in California.
Hey! I'm just saying, we have a visitor here, a very esteemed visitor, Doug Tennapel, and Reagan is his hero. So. Right. Yeah, I just want to make sure we don't lose Doug.
Yeah. No, like
it's very hard to lose me about anytime you're impugning a Republican. It's very hard to lose me.
I like Reagan. He did a lot of great stuff, but we gotta acknowledge the blemishes too.
Hey,
right?
man,
well, that's I have lots
no
of
love lost
friends
in the black community. Ronald Wilson Reagan. I mean, you can't trust a guy who has 3 names, and all of his names have 6 letters in them. So 666. Ronald Wilson Reagan, 666. What else do you need?
Here comes here comes the satanic.
I don't know, but did you predict it?
Here's the actual text from the Constitution. It's Article 1, Section 9, Paragraph 2. The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless, when in cases of rebellion or invasion, the public safety may require it.
I'm a rebel.
Yeah, it's a Chinese virus, man. We've been invaded by a Chinese virus.
That is not the invasions we're looking for.
Hey! You don't know that the Constitution is a breathing, living document. It is constantly changing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the founders were not virologists or epidemiologists.
Yeah, given they were doing leech bleeding.
True about smallpox.
Pretty sure George Washington got
dying for smallpox. All these Indians, we've got to suspend habeas corpus just to keep everyone safe.
So, but no, man. But all jokes to the side, though. So we're in a place where people are. I mean, in the state of Illinois, they have suspended all gun sales, or attempting to suspend all gun sales, all ammo sales. I mean, we're looking at a very deliberate restriction of rights, right?
That's an attack on the Second Amendment. They don't have do they have a right to do that?
Well, it's an attack all the way around, because you have to look at. We're also seeing in other states this restriction of just of rights in general, right? I mean, think about it. When have we ever seen the government go in and tell an owner of a business, your business has to shut down? We deem your business to be what's the word I'm looking? Non-essential. Non-essential. So therefore, your business is being shut down. I mean, are you kidding me? Now, I understand that in certain situations that we have to be pragmatic, but we also can't lose sight of what is going on here. Nick, speak to that, though. I mean, because you have a lot of business owners that will not come back from this. Let's be very honest about it.
Well, yeah,
there are a lot of bar owners who were not living off of very large margins. And we are in a situation. I'm a business owner, okay? And I think that I can weather some storms. The problem that I have, though, is that I don't know how long I have to weather the storm for. Is this a 2-week storm? Is it a 3-week storm? I mean, Trump has said that we need to be ready to go till August.
It's going to be, well, the COVID imperial study by World Health Organization said 18 months before we develop a vaccine and spread it out. And if you release the population from quarantine, they'll just reinfect.
And let me ask you, at which point, because this virus, unlike people keep on referring to it as the flu or comparing it to the flu, but this virus there are several people that have been reinfected by it. So unlike the flu, it's not like something that you deal with and then you don't deal with it the rest of the year. You can deal with this multiple times, and they say that the second time is often worse than the first, and the second time can often be can attack the cardiac, the
cardio. How can this not be setting precedent for the next time we get a H1, a normal flu, a normal seasonal flu, to shut down everything with the government?
And so that there's the concern.
What percentage of death comes out when the Constitution no longer applies?
So Nick, there we have it. So speak to that as far as we go. I mean, look, I'm not here trying to cause civil unrest. Obviously.
I am.
Once again, you have a winning complexion. So you hey, this is why I've got friends in low places. So
well, we have I mean, we do have real problems, right? Like we are taking this time to clean up because we have 5 kids, and it's like, oh well, now we have time to get the house in order because we're just home. So we're putting
I can feel that. Same here. My house is probably the cleanest it's been in a long time.
It's like, okay, mail is piled up here. My kids take paper and draw stuff all over it and then just leave it everywhere. So it gets like piled up. So we're like going through all this stuff, and Lady Rackets pulls out a flyer for the roller rink up in St. Cloud. And she's like, oh man, we can't go do this. Our kids like to go roller skating. And I thought about it and I was like, roller rinks have no margin. Like, I don't even know how they're in business in the first place anymore because there's never anybody there. And so it's like, is that place going to survive? I don't know. I look around town and I see these little businesses and stuff, and I'm like a barber. I think of my man, my barber, and I'm like, that guy's not allowed to go earn his money. He's got to pay his rent, but that money comes in because people go and sit in the chair. It's not great clips. He's not a corporate barber.
And let me shout out because Nick and I both have the same barber. Go figure that out.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Hey, yo, right?
He's a good barber.
Yeah, he is a good barber. So Nick and I both have the same barber. So shout out to our man Adrian. I don't know. He might be watching because he watches
Universal Cuts.
Universal Cuts in Wilmer, Minnesota. Hey, shout out to him. So yeah, anybody who's anywhere close, make sure you check out Adrian. But yeah, no, I completely 100% think about Adrian. Think about people like him who are early businesses. They don't have a large clientele by any stretch of the imagination, but they're trying to run their business. But if
you're trying to grow, it doesn't matter how venerable your business is. If you're trying to grow, you're reinvesting into your business, you're trying to bring new products, you're trying to expand your operation in any sort of way, buy new equipment. Like that's where your margin went. That's how small businesses work. And I think of print shops, right? I think of shipping places like the mailing place down in Wilmer that's not a UPS. I think of all these places and I'm like, how are these places going to survive if no one goes to them?
Take Universal Cuts as an example. Is he legally obliged to pay his rent when his money's been cut off by the government?
Yeah. Now he may be able to work something out. Is his
landlord legally able to not pay taxes because he didn't get the income from his renters?
So it's crazy to think about this. So here's the problem. We're going to have this quarantine for some amount of time. And then at some point they have to either pay people enough or they have to open the businesses. Now, $1,000 or $1,200 or whatever might tide someone out here for a month. In LA, not a chance. New York, that's a third of their rent for. I mean, there's no way. The income disparity is too great. So what are they going to do 3 months from now, 4 months from now? They can't keep things shut down. Doug mentioned that if they let people out, we're going to reinfect. I'm not so sure, because we do see one of the interesting things I saw the other day. Dick Masterson retweeted it, but it was a guy looking at the numbers in every single country's response. All of the countries with all their different responses, they're seeing the same declining rate of growth over a period of time. And all countries are following the trends, no matter what the response is.
Not in Italy.
Well, Italy is the worst case, and it's
the cat's out of the bag in Italy, but other people are just doing basic precautions. That's enough to pull that pull
Like I
that arc
say,
down.
you might not believe Japan, but Japan's, standard deviations below other people. Italy is standard deviations above other people. The U.S., we are nowhere even close. And the crazy thing is, so I tweeted an article out earlier today, and I've got it, but it's an opinion piece. It was written a couple days ago. It says, a fiasco in the making. As the coronavirus pandemic takes hold, we are making decisions without reliable data. And it goes through all of these different things, and it's very thorough breakdown from this guy. His name is John P.A. Ioannidis. He's a professor of medicine, epidemiology, and population health and biomedical data science and of statistics at Stanford. So he's not an idiot, right? And he talks about all of these numbers. The crazy thing is my channel artist who studied economics rattled off these numbers to me without reading this article the other day, just based on the numbers that we have and how viruses grow based on taking the data from like Spanish flu and other stuff. It's the same numbers because it's a math problem. And the weird thing is the numbers that we see are so much lower than what they should be based on what we're being told.
Sure.
And the reality about that is there's a whole bunch of infected people who aren't reported. One of the early points in this article is that the official fatality rate is 3.4%, right? But that skews really high because only the worst case people are going in and getting diagnosed, and then some percentage of them are dying. So of confirmed cases,
forward in the state of Minnesota, you can only get a test if you are now. You can only get a test if you are an inpatient. So you have to be admitted to the hospital first, and then you can get a test. So in the state of Minnesota, we have now shut down our drive-through testing facilities, right? And so, and then I read an article yesterday that there are over 2,000 tests that are actually in the freezer right now that have not been run yet, right? Because of whether it be staff shortages or whether it be just resource shortages, I'm not sure, but over 2,000 tests. So that's 2,000 people who are basically in the great unknown, right?
Yeah.
I don't know whether they have it or if they don't have it. They have some symptoms. They're not sure, but those people are still going about their daily lives, right?
The widest testing in the world has been done in South Korea, and it's 0.08% death rate. Widest testing.
That's the crazy thing, right? So if you extrapolate the data based on the number of cases that we know about and the death and the deaths that we see, there's this huge block, like 2 tiers out. There are symptomatic patients who are undiagnosed, which is going to be higher than the amount of diagnosed cases that we have. And then there's going to be asymptomatic carriers of the virus. So they've been infected. For whatever reason, they're asymptomatic because they just won't get symptoms from it. And that's a huge brick of the population. So we're going to continue to find coronavirus. But imagine you have coronavirus and then you develop some other symptom later on. You're an asymptomatic carrier. You develop symptoms from something else. They test you. Oh, suddenly you're a corona case. But the corona didn't kill you, something else did. So we've got this block of people. I really do think we're overblowing this. The numbers just don't add up to scaring me. Right. So where I'm going with all of this, it started a long time ago, is
please tell me where are you going with this?
Is they're going to have to shut down, they're going to have to end the shutdowns economically. And when they end the shutdowns, I don't think we're going to have a sick crisis. I really don't, even though it's going to be 18 months out or whatever before we have some reliable vaccines or whatever solutions they're going to come up with. That's a long out window. But I think really we're going to be a couple months of this crazy economic shutdown, and that's going to just absolutely wreck lives. Make no mistake. It won't wreck the economy, but it'll wreck someone's economy. And then after that, are we going to see a surge of new cases? I really don't think so.
They think there's going to be a second surge when flu season opens back up in the fall, is what they're predicting.
Well, the one of the interesting things in the article is this guy's talking about there are other coronaviruses with an 8% mortality rate out there, like ones that we've known about for a long time. And
H1N1 being up there.
Yeah, so it's a weird thing. I don't get it. I don't get what about this made everybody freak out so hard. Maybe I'm wrong. But even Italy, like, this sounds awful. That's not a lot of dead.
No.
Well, I mean, when you look at the average age of their population, then no. Look, I mean, we knew that we've known for a very long time that the game was to try to figure out some way to destroy the Trump economy. That was the one thing that he had. No one likes Trump as a person. Let's be very honest about it. I mean, the guy is a kind of a Neanderthal. I mean, if you listen to some of his messages, some of his speeches, I mean, the guy's not very well spoken. He's not a great orator like some of the great leaders of the past. He's no Winston Churchill, okay? But he did have a hell of an economy going. I mean, as far as the unemployment rate, as far as the stock market was an uncharted territory. So he had a lot going for him as it pertained to those things. They knew they had to get this economy down at some point. Right. In order to be able to
smell that agenda from a mile away.
Oh, and I can smell it. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you can smell it.
The media's love it.
I'm not gonna lie though. I'm not gonna lie. Let's be very honest about it. Everyone wants to talk about, oh well, the flu. I mean, takes 50,000, whatever. I mean, whatever the numbers are. Everyone wants to compare this to the flu, but I've never gone into my doctor's office during flu season and seen people walking around in full hazmat gear.
That's right.
Right. So, but I'm seeing people in full hazmat gear with this.
So they know something. It's not the medical professionals certainly aren't talking. I know nurses and they're just going, this is dead dog serious. And I'm going, it doesn't add up. And they're like, I don't care what you think. It's like,
yeah.
This is bad.
So that, I mean, I'm with you, Doug. So what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing are not the same. My father told me to believe 20% of what I 20% of what I hear, 80% of what I see, right? And what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing are not the same. That's right. So I will give that. But the other side of it is the fix. Nick, I want to ask you about this while we got you. I know you got to run because you got a show tonight also.
I do. It's going to be juicy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So this is this the Ron stream?
Yep.
Okay.
Ronversations. One of my favorite shows to do is
Ronversations.
So make sure after this, it's not like you got anywhere to go.
We do have some super chats for Nick, so
I got to
not let him leave before that.
No, go ahead. Q.
Hold on. You're not going to the club tonight. You guys are on YouTube tonight. So, but one of the things I want to talk about is this stimulus package they're talking about. Okay, not from the individual standpoint, because obviously they're talking about $1,200 and then $500 per kid, $1,200 per adult, which I mean in the grand scheme of things, $3,000 is not it's not an exorbitant amount of money, right?
Listen to the white privilege coming off of you.
Okay. Okay.
Also, look at the Trump is a fiscal conservative guy apologizing for throwing $2 trillion down a hole.
Hey, Nick, unlike you, I didn't grow up in the hood. So anyway,
look, I know.
I grew up on the other side.
Clean out a whole area code for $3K.
Hey, I grew up in the nice neighborhood. So anyway, but I mean, $3,000 is not an exorbitant amount of money. It will run out. I mean, for those of you that might think that $3,000 is life changing, okay, just let this quarantine go for 3 months long.
Why did they cap it?
Well, okay, but let's go down this rabbit hole of. So they're talking about these bailouts for these airliners, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so airliners have shot themselves in the foot. I mean, I remember a time, Doug, you can speak to this. You remember a time when riding TWA or riding airline, that was a luxurious experience, right? It wasn't just people in first class, for everybody. Like, I remember as a kid taking an airplane and seeing people dressed up in suits just because
we all wore ties. Then one guy wore flip flops on a flight,
and he was
it all
like
fell apart.
He was the dink, right? I mean, that guy was like, "What is this guy doing?" But riding on an airplane was a privilege. It was like something exciting. Now the judge ruled a few weeks ago, Nick, you need to ask permission before you recline your seat. I mean, Jesus. And these are the people we want to bail out. Are you kidding me?
As a 6'8" man, I agree with that. I agree that all you shrimpy imbeciles that always sit right in front of me and put your seat back, I want to pour my drink on you.
Listen,
I'm only 6'5", but the problem I have is my seats are my knees are right in the back of the seat, right? Riding an airplane is extremely uncomfortable now, right? And I'm wide also, I'll give you that. But I'm not a small man by any stretch of the imagination. But at the end of the day, like, it is extremely exciting. It's a pain in the ass for me to take an airplane. I'd rather drive if I'm within.
And you have some Armenian bodybuilder leaning his seat back on your lap for an entire flight, and you're happy about that? I say he's got to ask permission. I'm with the flight. I'm with them.
Now we're talking about taking out trillions of dollars, right? And bailing out the airline industry, right?
At the expense of a barber, of your downtown barber,
right? At the expense of the barber, but we look at every cut that I mean, it's damn near standing room only on these planes now, right?
Listen, I gotta add something here.
Okay.
United Airlines profits
when they're not beating up Asian people.
2017, 26.75 billion in profit.
That's billion with a B?
Yep. 2018, United Airlines profit.
Wait, hold on. Let's back up. This is not revenue. This is profit.
Gross profit.
Okay.
United Airlines, so 2017, 26.75 billion. 2018, 27.58 billion. 2019, 29.66 billion. American Airlines, let's see. We've got 20. Yeah. Okay, so 2016, 14 billion. 2017, we've got 13.25 billion. 2018, 12.95 billion. 2019, 12.37 billion. I didn't even look up Delta yet. These guys need bailouts again? Again?
They can eat my dirty underwear. They can eat the dirty underwear of your barber.
Hey, take out 8 rows of seats in your planes, right? Give us our leg room back, and then we might consider giving you some type of a bailout.
I was
you charge me $50 for a second bag? No.
They charge me for freaking peanuts. What the hell?
Yeah, and it's not peanuts for them. It's amazing. I was reading an article the other day how basically in 2004 or something, American Airlines profit was $300 million, and they're now $12 billion profit company. Like the amount that the airlines have made on us after 2001, it went like this, and then it went boom, straight to the moon, Alice. And we're the suckers for it. And now we're going to bail them out for what? Delta just gave a bonus to their employees. That was, it was the largest corporate bonus in history, and it amounted to 2 months' pay at your salary level for every single employee. It's like $2.7 billion that Delta gave to its employees, which is great. Good job. Yeah. These companies aren't hurting. These guys have operating capital.
So should the bailouts be given according to need, Nick?
Well, no. So the bailouts that they're proposing for small businesses, which I am one, is we're going to give you low interest loans.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
You can go into debt. We're going to help you go into debt.
Yeah. We'll help you go into debt, but we won't. It'll be cheap money. We'll give you a low interest rate.
Q, you and I have had arguments about Trump, about the fiscal conservative thing. How can a fiscal conservative be for giving out $2 trillion to airlines, McDonald's?
You have to understand, though,
hotels?
Trump is in in election mode. He's in re-election mode. So Trump is only looking not for what's fiscally conservative at this point. He is looking for what is going to get him reelected. He knows he has to run on the economy. He cannot run on himself. He cannot run on the fact that he is a great orator. Can't not run on the fact that he is a great organizer. He cannot run on the fact that he is a unifying presence. He can only run on the fact that he has put all of his eggs in the I have a phenomenal economy basket. And now his economy has gone to shit. And so he has to do anything he can by all means necessary to bring that economy back in a very quick manner.
Right.
I am just very,
The Dems are saying he needs to give a bailout to healthcare, and I already smell it. They're going to give a whole lot of money to Planned Parenthood.
To hell with giving a bailout to healthcare. Are you kidding me? I mean, okay, look, let me back up. In 2009, I moved to Minnesota. My wife was pregnant. We had to buy health insurance. We had to go through the Minnesota not MNsure. It wasn't anyway, we had to go through their high risk, the HRSA insurance program that they had. They had high risk insurance program because she was already pregnant. She had a pre-existing condition, which pregnancy was considered. We had to pay $500 a month for our family for a $3,000 deductible. $500 a month. I was pissed. I could not believe that we were having to pay $500 a month. I'm sorry, that was $5,000 deductible. $500 a month. Fast forward, we are paying $2,100 a month in this post-Obama Affordable Health Care Act. $2,100 a month for a $10,000 deductible. Do the math. We have to pay for the first $34,000 of our health care every single year. So we have to have more than $34,000 worth of health care benefits before our health care insurance will even pay a dime.
That's when you cut your own hand off just to be able to treat your cold.
So these are the people, the healthcare industry, that's who you want to talk about bailing out? I mean, to hell with it. I'm sorry, but I get that some businesses need to be bailed out. I 100% understand. The people who own a small bar in small rural Minnesota, rural Iowa, rural Indiana, those people that own that small bar have been in place. Movie theater, you know. And now the large movie companies, I was just looking at Amazon, now they're playing all their movies for you can buy these movies on Amazon and rent them. So they're getting their money.
They're loving it. They're going, stay at home and watch more movies, America.
The newest Pixar movie hit theaters 2 weeks ago and was released Friday, yesterday
on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but on Amazon you can buy the movie for $14 or whatever.
Yeah.
But I look at that and I see small businesses and they're the ones really and truly that are suffering, right? And I get that we have to do something for small businesses. We have to do something for people. I mean, the overall goal for government, as long as I've been alive, has been to incentivize people to go back to work. That's the goal for good governors. That is our for good governors, for good government. The goal has always been to incentivize people to go to work.
Right.
We're in a situation now where we are incentivizing people. We are asking them to please don't go to work because you will infect the people you work around. You'll infect your customers. You will infect the people who are at the gas station on your way to work, whatever, right? So we are trying to do everything we can to talk people out of going to work, which is unprecedented. You have to do something. I get the mindset. You have to do something to give those people.
Shouldn't Trump say go back to work?
He could do that, but he's in a no-win situation. If he does that tomorrow and says go back to work, proceed with life as it goes, then it's people are dying because of Donald Trump. He cannot win. He is in a what do you call that?
A conundrum.
Well, there's a
I think there's a Star Trek reference for this.
Yeah.
Quagmire, a Kobayashi Maru.
Maru,
there you go.
The unwinnable test.
It is completely unwinnable for him, and I get that. But man, we're in a place now. We're talking $2 trillion like it's going out of style. But Nick, let me ask you this: we can agree that China completely effed this whole thing up, correct?
Sure.
Whether it's not allowing our healthcare professionals to come in, whether it's not reporting the numbers immediately, whether it is not being just transparent overall as it goes, right? In my opinion, I say, hey, you know that $20 trillion that we owed you guys in debt? We used to
paid
owe that.
for.
Renegotiate it. Yeah.
Right?
Renegotiate it.
I mean, at this point, I feel like, you know what? We used to owe you. So $5 trillion, $10 trillion, whatever is gone. I mean, we have people that have passed away. We have a death toll. We have an economy, a stock market. I mean, look at the overall losses in the stock market in the last 2 weeks, right? I mean, we've lost billions upon billions of dollars.
1/3 of our economy.
I mean, there's people who are looking to retire next year who won't retire next year because of what the stock market has done, right? So, I mean, a lot of wealth has been lost in this country. If it was up to me, I'd say, you know what? We used to owe you $20 trillion. We don't owe you anything anymore. I mean, 20 trillion might be a stretch, but we'd definitely be knocking off $5 to $10 trillion on that that debt for sure. But where do you fall on that, Nick? I mean, obviously, you have to have a feeling on these small businesses. You have to have a feeling on this stimulus that the government is proposing. Where do you fall on that?
My feeling is I'm generally against stimulus. I'm generally against government injections of money into the economy as a matter of normal principle. However, if you're going to shut someone's ability to work down, you're going to have to pay them. Like, there's just no other option. I don't know how the government can, on one hand, say, you can't go to work and you can't get paid, and we can't give you anything to do it. Nope, I'm sorry. If the government is going to shut it down, to me, that's a constitutional taking, and they need to compensate us for it in some way.
But they're not compensating you for it. Your children will pay for it. Our children are going to pay for the money loaned out to their decision. That's what infuriates me.
Yeah.
This is giving me flashbacks of Social Security.
It infuriates me too. But because my solution is don't shut it down. I mean, that's my answer. Right. But they did. So now they're stuck in this problem. If the government's going to take your thing, they've got to pay you. I mean, if they come and take your land, heck, if the government wants to come and lay a new water pipe under your land, and they're gonna take that away from you in an easement that they don't have, they have to compensate you something. Doesn't have to be a lot. If they're going to lay a path across your land, they have to compensate you something for that path. That's just how it goes. So if they're going to take your job from you for a given amount of time, they got to pay. And I think this is their idea of how to do that. Trying to justly compensate every single person for what they lose would cost more money than even this ridiculous thing will cost. So that's how I feel about that.
Can Joe Barber down the street, when he loses his business, sue China?
No. There's a lawsuit out there against China right now. Good luck. I mean, good luck. The U.S. will probably shut it down. We can invalidate lawsuits against foreign bodies. We've done it before. And what are you going to do? Okay.
Don't we just need to get Zaid on it?
Yeah, Mark Zaid. The U.S. will allow you to sue China, and the judge will award you $11 trillion, and then you pay it, China, and they'll just say no, right? Like, and it'll interfere with foreign relations.
That's where my idea is ingenious. We already have the money in hand.
Yeah.
We ain't paying you nothing.
Personally, right. I like your idea.
It's the economy overnight.
The only problem with it's a dilemma, not a problem. The dilemma with your plan is that China's economy got absolutely reamed out too, right? Their their manufacturing got absolutely dumpstered. They still have people not going to work.
Essentially, it's gone back to where it should have been in the first place. Had we not shipped all of our manufacturing over there, had we not the Americans are we the people. We the people. I'm old enough to remember, Doug, and you know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
I remember when Walmart was advertising the fact that it was 100% American made.
Yeah.
Everything was American made in Walmart. We are the American made superstore. And I remember seeing that fade away because people realized they could go over to China because Americans and the world in general, whether it be the Romans, whether it be every single great superpower in history, has been reliant upon slave labor to get there.
Yep.
And because we understand that slave labor in the United States was a taboo, right? And we could no longer get that free labor, we had to find someone with the balls to have slave labor and to fix it up in a form that we could actually exploit that slave labor. And China was the one to do it. We were able to exploit slave labor in China and then turn around to China and then be able to turn around and paint it as, oh, we are woke. We are helping the Chinese people, i.e. Colin Kaepernick, right? We want to stand up for the greatness of the people, right? We want to stand up for injustices, although we are hiring 5-year-old slave labor or kids to come out and make our tennis shoes, right? So let's look at the whole picture here. We're looking at the whole picture, and we have enriched our greatest enemies. The greatest threat to American national security are countries like China. And we have built them up to where they are today.
Yeah. 100% of my books are made in the USA, and the right wingers in general don't care about that fact. Our pulp, our trees are from America. Our printing is in America. I get it less.
Yeah, but what about the writer?
What about the writer? I'm right here. I'm American, baby.
Oh, that's
no, you're from California and you reside in Tennessee.
I hear the Chinese accent coming through.
14-year-old, right? 14-year-old, right harder, 14-year-old.
The problem, the reason I bring up the dilemma of China is going to have a domestic problem if we renegotiate the amount of money that we owe China, because their government would be losing a lot of face on that. Now they should.
Is that
right?
1/3 of our national debt, Nick? Is it around there? 1/3?
I don't know. It's too much. Whatever it is, it's too much.
If it's 20 or 30 trillion, I think it's like 10 trillion or something.
Cut it in half. Cut it in 2/3. I don't care. Negotiate something and say, look, this is your fault. This is your fault. Oh, by the way, you also blamed us for the bioweapon. It landed in your country first. It's your fault. Of course, we had that one asshole from Harvard over there working like in the town, just not reporting on it. No big deal. Yeah. Put that guy in a Chinese prison instead of an American one. Let's see how that works out.
It was your bats, not ours.
But yeah, I don't know, man. They're going to have to do something. Interesting, I suppose. Maybe we use it as an opportunity for regime change in China.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's the solution.
And good luck with that. If people didn't vote that dude out for killing kids and his one-child policy,
like I trust a Chinese cop.
That's right.
Now.
One child wiped out a generation of girls.
Killing kids, strapping women to the table, and performing mandatory state-forced abortions. Yeah, good luck with getting rid of President Xi, whatever.
I say go to war.
Xi Jinping or whatever.
I say take him by force and instill a constitution.
You're such a Republican.
And Christianity, national religion, Christianity.
Yeah.
Let's okay. Can we do the chats for me so that
let's get those.
Doug is talking about a next crusade. All right. All right, go ahead.
First up, we have Osmodeus again for $2. Now I'm going to send you a bottle of it out of pure spite, Nick. I guess you're going to get some pecan whiskey. Oof. Up next,
I'm
we
legally
have
obligated to drink it too. That's the problem.
Xander's Rants, I think that is.
Yeah.
For $2. Sorry if I mispronounced it. Nick, when are you going to get Doug in D&D style games? Doug, is Nick going to be in Bigfoot Bill 2? Q, love to see you talk to Mr. Mediker. Oh, my.
I'll play D&D or Warhammer with Nick any day of the week. He's not, I don't have him. I'm not doing guest appearances in the next book because it's just not going to happen. I can't do it.
I can tell you right now, you can't see Nick in a Warhammer situation. Like, Nick is the ultimate Warhammer ambassador.
Heretic.
Yeah.
Poor whammer.
Whoa.
Wow.
Man, I'm going to leave that one alone. All right. Any more, Soder?
Yeah, we got two more. Another from Osmodeus for $2. George Carlin's bit about how the government doesn't care about your rights is real.
Yes.
That guy was a prophet. And, we just got another one. Up next, we have Cemetery Lady for $5 through Super
My cemetery
Chat.
Girl. Cemetery
I think
baby.
people riot when they realize there isn't going to be any unemployment. There isn't enough money to pay anyone, and they'll panic.
Unemployment
Minnesota's getting
insurance,
there.
it's fine. Don't worry about it.
It's
like
backed by
Social
the federal
Security.
government. It's totally not a loan that we have to pay back.
And the old women in the hood used to say government. That government cheese. That government cheese is long, boy. That government cheese.
Government cheese is gross. I had to cook with that stuff back in cooking class.
You can cook with government cheese. You can cook with anything. Hey, life is good for us over in this side of the neighborhood. Boy, we cook with nothing but Sargento, boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And finally, we have Nova Zero with $5 Australian, which I have no idea how much that is in USD.
136. I'm kidding. Just kidding.
At least I think it's Australian. It has an A in front of it.
It's one brush fire.
Declare China illegal. Know what? Split China. Give Taiwan a big slice. Oh, Q. Nobody votes in China. Also, since Pope got taken out, crusade.
I like this super chat. The way you think, you're correct. I like the way
Pope
you think.
Francis have does Francis have Corona-chan?
Hey, we haven't
some
seen him.
speculation, if I remember right.
Hey, I tell you what, instead of building walls, we should build a bridge right over that wall of the Vatican and go check it out ourselves. So, but hey, guys, thank you so much. Hey, Nick, I know you had a lot to do tonight. I know you just woke up like 10 minutes ago. So thank you so much for being on the show. Hey, we put this together last minute, but I figure, look, if I'm going to be quarantined, if Soder's going to be quarantined, we're going to get as many shows as we possibly can, and we're going to be covering this whole thing from start to finish. We're all in this together. We're all Americans. We're all in this together. We're all in the same boat. I'm going to let Nick handle the civil unrest thing. Unfortunately, I'm not about that life. I'm going to be a good citizen. I'm going to be, and I'm going to stay out of the Popo's way. And then they're talking about escalating this thing, going from Popos to National Guard. Yo, I'm not trying to deal with the Marines on this deal.
When has the National Guard ever shot anybody on U.S. soil? I mean, just name twice recently.
You know what? Hey, if the state troopers are as woke and as live and as lit as they are, I don't want to find out. So I'll let them do their thing. I like my house. I'll just stay here and eat some struggle meals, have me some fried chicken and some syrup sandwiches, and we'll just wait this whole thing out. But
you
Doug,
get fried chicken in your hood? I get canned chicken. That's it.
Oh, see, we still on the other side of the tracks though, bro.
Not fair.
So we're still working on that. But Doug, thank you so much, man. I know you had a lot going on tonight. Thank you so much. I'll look
Thanks
forward
for
to
having me on, my friend. And come on my show too. I'll have you and Soder on. I'll throw an invite to Nick too. I'll just be doing shows all week. So whenever you guys want to come on.
Are we going to try to do a show tomorrow?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I'll be on your show tomorrow. We'll be doing our own show here on a regular scheduled time tomorrow evening. So be looking for that. We'll be sending that out. So we'll be continuing this conversation. Tim will be here tomorrow, and I believe Doug will be here tomorrow. We're going to be specifically talking about life after the coronavirus. I mean, we all are going. This is going to be over. We know that for sure. We know the fact that this is going to be a temporary situation. We're all going to come back. What is life going to look like after the corona?
You are a bad doomsayer, buddy.
We'll fill you in on that. Yeah.
This is going to end. How it ends, I cannot say, but it will end. But we want to talk about that. We want to talk about what does life look like after this is all said and done. And from a pragmatic side, I mean, I know we had our libertarian candidate on last Sunday, and he is completely against all this bailouts, whether it be quarantines, whether it be all that. And I can agree with a lot of it. But the problem is where we are at today, there will need to be some type of injection of monies into the system. What life looks like after that, we don't know. But I would love to have a discussion as it pertains to that. So
we'll have a roundtable on what are you going to spend your money on?
Yeah. You're going to buy Jordans, you're going to pay your rent. Which one's it going to be?
I just have to say one thing. President Trump doesn't like black people.
Thank you, Kanye. Thank you, Kanye.
Hey, man. Hey, and Nick, hey, a cat can have kittens in the oven and don't make them biscuits. So.
That's the truest thing QX has ever said. Why hasn't that guy been on your show yet?
Hey, man, I'm trying. He has not responded to any of my DMs. I am in his DM on a daily basis. Hey, man, you got to come on my show. I want to talk to you. You can run the show. I will just sit there and listen. I will mute my microphone. Just come on the show, and he will not do it. But hey, now that everybody is stuck in the house, let's go ahead and have him on and talk about this thing. But yeah. Hey, you argue with that. You know how when you try to argue with a crackhead and they make sense, and you're like, man, I don't even know what to say about that because that actually makes sense.
You got me. You got me.
Hey, I got nothing.
Those are not biscuits.
Hey, Doug,
you cannot cover that with gravy.
Hey, Doug.
Yes,
a cat can have kittens in the oven. Don't make them biscuits.
Don't make them biscuits.
Don't make them biscuits.
It's true. That's a fact. Even from a crackhead, fact. Yep.
That is facts. Hashtag facts. But hey, thank you guys. Hey, I noticed that we have far fewer likes on this video than we have people told in the chat right now. Please,
give it a like, guys.
Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe button. We picked up a couple subs also tonight. We really, really appreciate that. We are going to do everything we can to bring you. We are going to get you through this. We are all in this together. We are going to get you through this quarantine situation.
Does this mean our arm wrestle thing, or no, our Slapfest is off?
Oh, no. Our Slapfest is still on, man. Wait, we get to
shoot.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I was hoping I'd be saved from that now.
We might hit that. We might hit that during this time. Soder and I are going to have a slap competition. And, hey, and if you guys play it right, I just might have, like, the coughs during that time. So I might slap Soder and infect him with coronavirus all at the same time.
That is worth a sub button, guys.
That is worth a sub button.
Spread the link.
My next question is, does what you sell cover if I die from COVID?
It does. It absolutely does.
We might have to have a conversation before that Slapfest happens.
I'm going to write an insurance policy on Soder, infect him with coronavirus, and slap the dog mess out of him all at the same time. You don't want to miss it. I swear. But, hey, you guys have a fantastic night. It was awesome visiting with you guys. It was awesome having you guys on the show. Doug, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Nick, you're always welcome. If you can make it tomorrow, it'd be great. But Tim, our local representative, will be here talking about all things Boomer. So
weed in the age of Corona. I'm coming.
It will be a Boomer Fest tomorrow. So thank you guys so much. Be blessed. And always remember, it is your job to stay in the fight. We are all in this thing together, and stay healthy, be safe, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night.
Yeah.
Peace.
Night, everyone.